Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. I'm so sorry about that delay, guys. Having some issues with my microphone. Hopefully it's okay now. We'll see in a little bit. Let me know in the Q&A form if it is still poor, but I hopefully think that we should be good now. So right here is a pretty interesting market state. I'm just going to jump right into trading here. So we very obviously had this little choppy zone being formed on these two levels there. You know, very obvious regression trades here, but I'm tempted to consider this as a breakout because I don't have any confirmation to think that just yet. So you can see that. Hold on, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen here because it's always awkward just starting out, especially in this position where it's half breaking out. Okay. So you can see there that we're not getting any momentum to move upward. We actually immediately get filled into a short trade there right after we arm up, but we'll see how it goes. Just gonna rearm it in both directions so we maintain that automation. I did adjust my stream settings, so I think that there won't be any issues with the bit rate, or there won't be any random intermittent drops or delays. Hopefully you guys should be receiving this nice and clear. I'm just going to start answering some Q&As while this trade bakes. Mr. Trader asked, when NQ is trading sideways, how big should the range be to keep it in trend mode rather than switching to regression? This is something I struggle with, trying to use it in regression when the range, it looks like we won that trade there. When the range is about 15 points or so, I get chopped out. So that would depend on what your take profit and stop loss is. I would say a 15 point range, that is pretty sizable, especially on NQ. I think that would be a, what would that be? Like 60? Yeah, 60 range. So let's just visualize that for the viewer here. So a 60 range would be about this big. Okay, so that's about the size of this range. So just to highlight that, your trades would probably be inside of this zone. But not, it wouldn't be sizable. I would say it'd have to be at least 100 ticks for you to consider that. I'm sorry, 80 ticks for you to consider that a trend mode switch, just based off of the information of the range alone. So on a 60 tick range there, you definitely want to be in regression mode, especially if you're not using the hyper scalping strategy. If you're using your own just one-to-one take profit, one-to-one stop loss, you're not going to want to switch into trend mode for a range that's that size. So thank you for the question. Hopefully that should help you out in selection of trend mode. This guy asked the question in German. I'll try and translate that in a little bit. I can't find my handbooks for trading. Can you resend? So there should be an original download link in the email that was sent to you. If not, if you can't find the original download link, just shoot an email to our support and we'll get that over to you as soon as possible. It'll be super quick, and sorry you lost it. We're trying to figure out a way to centralize it so that you're always able to download it regardless, even if you lose the email, but we're working on that. Looks like we get filled into a long trade here. It's a pretty textbook case of a perfect regression trade inside of this range. Soren asked, "Hi Connor, thank you for your Q&A. I have been with you on the journey for quite some time now. I did understand your comments today as being on a prop firm using Rhythmic can be the reason for polarity not necessarily working properly, question mark, or did I misunderstand that? Would you mean to say that trading my own Ninja account with Kinetic would be more precise?" I'm not necessarily saying that Rhythmic is going to give you bad data necessarily. I mean, there is, of course, that aggregated data setting that they have, which if you have that enabled, you're not going to have a good time. Wow, that is super unfortunate that we got stopped out there, guys. Immediately get filled into another long trade though there. But sorry, back to the question. It's just that Rhythmic has a history of giving sometimes data that isn't necessarily up to date second by second. It can be behind by 500 milliseconds. It can be behind by 2 seconds. And I've seen in some cases on some forums people talking about it being over a minute behind. But this can only really happen when the market volatility kicks up. But that's exactly when you don't want it to happen, because of course your trades are not going to be delayed. So you're gonna be entering in places where you don't think that actually exists. So I would just recommend, but that's not an issue if you're trading on a prop firm, because it's actually a live sim account. So you're not going to have, even if it's behind, it's not an issue. But I personally don't use it. Just got this program and set up NQ today. NQ looks like yours, except no delta at the bottom. So you do need to have the setting called Show Statistics enabled, and then you can just select delta and show delta percentage, and you will have delta enabled, and you'll be able to see it. Sorry about that, guys. Should we be in trend mode? Someone just asked that just now. No, as you can see, I'm in regression mode. But if you have your own analysis on why you think you should be in trend mode, I don't think that you should take it from me if you trust your own judgment. Once again, this is an investment advice, so. But that's just what I'm doing. I'm in regression mode. How do you eliminate support resistance red/green when they start overlapping? So the red and green support resistance, I'm assuming this is from someone who doesn't have the AC4 Plus. These are automatically removed when they're broken. So you can see over here on this green one, on the left side of the screen there, it was automatically broken once price broke through it. Ryan said, looks like we're still 5 to 7 seconds in front of you. Yeah, unfortunately, that is just how it's going to have to be. That's just the nature of streaming. I don't have any delay induced on my end. That's just on YouTube's side. It's always going to be about that far of a delay. But however, I'm not really making 5 to 10 second moves ahead of you guys. Unless you see me consistently making a trend/regression switch or an arm or disarm consistently before I get filled into a trade, I don't see how that could help me in an advantageous. I'm not saying you're accusing me of that, but some people have said that before, so. I found that trend mode is way easier to trade, and regression areas during certain times can jump back and forth between trend and regression. Is that just bias because not all regression/trend will win? I think this person is asking, I think there's a couple questions being asked here. I do want to clear up the misconception that just because you have the correct mode selected does not mean that every single trade will win, but I don't want to insult your intelligence by assuming that you're saying that. First time. So trend mode is generally how you're going to want to initially start using the strategy. When you're a beginner to the strategy, you don't really need to switch it all in between trend and regression. You're just going to want to selectively arm and disarm. So I would assume that is why you're having that. Maybe it's just easier for you to use trend mode. Maybe you have applied those concepts more effectively than you have with regression. Where does the strategy start to fall on its face, and what market scenarios do you factor in to either arm or disarm when it's plain not working in time? As we know, all systems do not have 100% success rate statistically. You're absolutely right. I would say this system completely falls on its face when volatility is zero, when it's just ticking back and forth in between, like, let's say 10 ticks. So if your take profit is at 15 or 19 ticks and you're only getting 10 ticks of range bound movement, you are going to lose every single trade that you take, regardless of what mode you're in. So that is a significant factor. So I highly suggest not trading areas where there is very little volume. I don't say that lightly. When I say that every single trade that you take with a range that is less than your take profit or stop loss is going to do very poorly. And just decreasing your take profit and stop loss is not going to remedy that, because you have a bid-ask spread and you have commissions. So you're fighting those tick by tick more than you would be with a larger take profit and stop loss. So if you're using a 15 take profit and stop loss, your commissions are going to be effectively lower than if you were going to use the same contract size, effective contract size, if your take profit was, let's say, 5. That bid-ask spread would already eat up 2 ticks of your profit. You'd be fighting that more in the market. And then a commission would eat up another 1.5 ticks. That's over 50% of your profit is being eaten by bid-ask spread and your contract size, especially if you want to keep your take profit and stop loss to be the same dollar amount that you would if you were at a higher ATM strategy size. So sorry if that was not clear. Try my best to describe that to you guys, what I'm thinking about that. Also, we did switch it into trend mode here when we broke out of this range. We obviously got some pretty strong upward movement there. Will this work on Top Step? Absolutely. It will 100% work on Top Step. We have had many people use Top Step. I've traded on other prop firms before, and yes, it will work on Top Step. How did you come up with a 4-tick aggregation? So the 4-tick aggregation is actually there for visual reasons and for calculating imbalances. So 4 ticks isn't a point. So basically these just show point by point levels, whereas if it was just 1 tick or no tick aggregation, it would just show each tick by tick. And you would get very inaccurate imbalances, and they would not be clustered enough, especially because the bid-ask spread on NQ is comparatively wider than it is on ES, so it's going to be 2 ticks. It's just, I think that would make sense. If you've pulled up a footprint chart on NQ before without tick aggregation, it's going to look like a mess, and it is not going to be tradable at all in terms of getting accurate imbalance data. Just to confirm, this will work on Top Step with rhythmic data. Yes, it absolutely will work on Top Step with rhythmic data. I've only said that rhythmic isn't my favorite for live trading. It is not going to affect you if you are taking an evaluation or trading with a prop firm. Executions are handled locally on evaluations and prop firms because, of course, on an evaluation account and even on a PA account, by the way, you are not trading with live money. I think Connor, to improve people's chances of success when using the system, I think emphasize for new traders, people to understand that overall market microstructure and pace of price, so that when trades are placed, they know exactly why they're trading rather than trading blindly. This tool, I would have to say this tool is likely to be useless for people who do not truly understand how markets work. I would actually be inclined to agree with you. if you have a baseline understanding of how market microstructure works and actually the technicals behind it, I think that you will have a much higher chance of success using this strategy. Because if you don't actually understand what's going on with the strategy, you're not going to understand why you need to make certain decisions that are described in the guidebook. So you're definitely right about that. So yeah, if you're looking for something that is literally just you turn it on and you make thousands and thousands of dollars, that doesn't exist, and this is not that tool. So you actually do need to put in the effort to learn the strategy and do that. In case anyone is looking at this and is curious about it, please don't get this strategy if you're just looking for something to instantly make you thousands of dollars every day. That is not the reality of the situation. What is your historical success rate? So with NQ, I believe we're hovering at about a 73% win rate. That does include our skewed risk reward, meaning our losses are going to be effectively smaller than our wins. Yes. How will work settings with new updates? Said Larocco. So with the new update, you will not actually have to fiddle with settings at all. You will have your own machine learning model that will be trained based off of your individual data. And you will not have to fiddle with them if you don't want to. Of course, people who enjoy the traditional style of consistency with settings and predictability, you will have the option to disable the machine learning and you won't actually have to use it. If you start with $50,000, with what quantities should you trade as you trade 7 lots? Okay, so, oh dang, it looks like we got stopped out there. The issue with this, okay, this question is interesting. So you say the number 50,000. I assume that actually you're talking about a prop firm. So with a prop firm with 50,000, your trailing drawdown is actually your account size. It is not $50,000. You need to trade based off of your trailing drawdown. So let's say your trailing drawdown is $5,000 with that size account. You're definitely not going to want to use 7 contracts, that's for sure. You're going to blow up your account quite quickly, even if you lose like X number of trades in a row. I would say you should start with two contracts on MQ. And I'd move over to a personal account. I mean, evaluation accounts are great for building initial wealth, but looks like we're getting this really nice, strong uptrend here. That is super solid. Unfortunately, we had lost the previous trade prior to that one. Almost didn't even catch it, but then we won a consecutive trade after that. But I apologize if you actually meant trading $50,000 of your own money. Completely understandable. Of course, there are individual risk profiles to look at there regarding your risk tolerance. But even with $50,000, I do not suggest trading up to 7 contracts. Is it true that when the ML update comes out, prices will go up? And if so, would it be in the card if it's sold as a separate plugin for those who need it and those who don't? It's still attainable just as well? Just asking, haha. So the machine learning update, anyone who already owns Polarity before it comes out will receive that update for free. But I haven't thought about that stipulation yet about being a separate plugin. Unlikely. I think it's unlikely because this is a very substantial update and it isn't actually separate. It completely changes the core infrastructure of Polarity. We could talk about that if you really, really wanted to get it without the machine learning update. But I think it's worth the extra $100. If I had to choose between trend and regression mode for the rest of my life, which would you choose? I would choose trend. And I would just selectively arm and disarm. Brother, I sent you a personal DM on Insta. Would you mind answering me, please? So I don't actually monitor my DMs super often. They often fall through the cracks. Instagram has a pretty restrictive spam banner. So I highly suggest reaching out on the website. We have a live chat you guys can talk to there for if you need help with pre-purchase support. I'm so sorry that I haven't gotten your DM. I apologize about that. But it's much less cumbersome to respond on the live chat. How would you prioritize fill quality rather than fill guarantee? The limit order function sends a marketable limit order. I am actually not sure what that means in terms of marketable limit order. The limit order function will send a limit order to where you want it to. You can even adjust the ticks away from function, and that will change how far away from the entry price that your limit order will be placed at. So that'd be how you would guarantee a fill price rather than fill guarantee. And also we have an auto cancel feature too. So if price moves far enough away from your initial limit order, it'll automatically cancel that. So it's not sitting there for a super long time once price moves far away. Brian said, definitely not, LOL, thank you. I'm not totally sure what exactly he was referring to by that. How many stacked imbalances are you using to trigger the automation? It's 2 right now. Does my trading system work on Quant Tower? Unfortunately, we do not support Quant Tower at the moment. NinjaTrader and Quant Tower are both very, very different platforms. We could have that in the future. I'm not totally sure what the user base looks like for Quant Tower, but if enough people are interested in it, we could possibly develop something like that. However, our developer does not actually specialize in Quant Tower, so it would take a little bit of specialization to get that done. For people who are asking about trend and regression and which to go with, starting out, use trading indicators or tools that showcase contraction and expansion. If you understand contraction and expansion of price using those indicators, that can give you a clue to build a narrative. Thank you so much, Rocket, for that key piece of information. I hope that helps out some people. When I'm trying to send my machine ID, it's asking me the vendor name. What should I put the vendor name? We don't actually need the vendor name. The vendor name would just be Features Analytica. But if you just send us your machine ID, we can get that sorted out for you. Thank you, John, for the information that Quant Tower is written in C#. I do appreciate that. So that would help our process a lot. What are you exact input? Not totally sure what that means. I'm not inputting anything into the screen right now. I haven't clicked anything since our last trade, which would just be to arm the strategy again. I'm not sure if Sierra Charts is in C#. Possibly. Think of this tool. I tried signing up the free tools on the site, but I haven't received a confirmation email. So the free tools on the site are actually in a download link that are on the page once you input in your email address. You'll see it at the bottom next to the confirmation box. Apologize again, guys. Does the machine learning upgrade make the system change from regression to trend and back on its own? It won't initially do that, but we are working on figuring out a way to get that in an accurate way to do that. We're We're still in the very early stages of development on that, but that is actually in the pipeline, and we do have tangible framework laid down to make that possible. Is this strategy included in the guidebook? I'm not totally sure what you mean by that question. The strategy comes with a guidebook. We sell the guidebook separately also in case anyone wants to buy it. But you don't get the strategy for free if you just purchase the standalone guidebook. But the guidebook does describe the strategy and does teach the strategy. Here, I'm going to translate that one German question I got earlier. I am allowing the one tick separation as seen in my previous videos, by the way. Oh, yes, you will have the inputs to the strategy in the guidebook. Absolutely. Can machine learning learn on backtested replay so I get the trades entered on the pledger place on the big moves and hopefully get it to replicate on live? Absolutely. Yes, you can train it on backtested replay. That's a big thing we've wanted to include in it. You'll be able to train the model by yourself if you want to, and that is functionality that will be included. You will be able to train it on backtested data. Have you done a video series showcasing this strat using, say, max 5 micros just for kicks and giggles? Absolutely. If we did a small account charity challenge where we had to grow $500 into $10,000, and at the end of the series, we donated it to World Vision. You could also looks like we're getting a little bit of connection lag here. Not totally sure what's going on. Just disarm the strategy just in case. I think our Ethernet cable may have become disconnected. Hold on, guys. Be right back. Sorry about that, guys. Dog tripped over the Ethernet cable. Just reconnected it. Get filled here into a short trade. I'm so sorry about that, guys. Apologize. Fortunately, it's not looking too good for this trade, guys. I actually think we should have been in regression mode here, very obviously. That was a mistake on my part. I was not paying attention. Is there a reason for you only trading now like 2 hours post the market open? Yes, there is, and it actually has nothing to do with the strategy working not during market open. It's just that market open is 6:30 a.m. for me, and I don't really want to stream and provide quality commentary at 6:30 a.m. every day because that involves me waking up at 5:30, and I just don't really have a motivation to want to do that when I could just stream 2 hours later and get the exact same thing. It would just take a little bit longer, and I think longer content is also beneficial for you guys as well. Well, that was quite a emotional trade here. We've had we had an almost fill. We also had an almost stop out. So the trade is open. Can you close the trade, or will it have an effect on the ATI? Yes, you can absolutely close the trade. We suggest using the close button that's on the right-hand panel of the screen because using the manual close button on the top right that is defaulting. NinjaTrader could disable the strategy if you manually do that. So I do suggest using that. We included that specifically so that it would not interact with the strategy at all. Unfortunately, we do end up losing that trade there. What is your ATM settings? At what point do you move the stop and how much? I do believe that our ATM settings right now are the same as before. I think we made a video on that. I'll have to triple check what this is. My take profit is 18, stop loss is 16. Auto trail is at, I believe, 11, and it's a -8. Yep, so sorry about that, guys. Mic was off. Appreciate you letting me know about that. Thank you, Kevin. You are absolutely right about the Fed decision being at 2. Markets are likely going to be dead until then. So. That is unfortunate. I am going to try and scalp this range, but if not, might have to call it at 1600 on the day. Rocket says, another tool for the rest of y'all to assess whether you need to switch between trend or regression mode is to use RVol/relative volume. For example, Connor just took a loss. There was an area of low RVol relative volume, which is indicative of less participation by actors. And if RVol in the case of NQ exceeds, say, e.g. 120, there's definitely more volumetric participation and likely expansion. Thank you, Rocket. I'll absolutely look into that for my own verification too, but I highly suggest you guys check that out too. Does it work on micros? Yes, it absolutely does work on micros. We did push an update, I think 2 months ago, where you can actually trade micros based off of the mini data. So you will trade using the full contract order flow data, but on minis. So it's super straightforward to set that up. It's just a checkbox. But to answer your question, yes, it does work on micros. Market is looking pretty dead right now, guys. Finally, we get filled here into a short trade. Hopefully, we have enough volatility to push us down to fill this trade here. That would be really nice. Awesome. Does prove it's possible to trade even in time like this, even when the Fed does come out with news at 2, like this person just said. Ken says he has asked for help via email multiple times and has not received a response. I am so sorry about that, Ken. I will absolutely get to that within the next hour. I believe that we had cleared out all the emails last night and responded to all of them, but if you've not received a response, I will double check and I'll make sure our support team does follow up with you one more time. Ron asks, do you play video games at all? Yeah, I do actually. Pretty occasionally now, but I have been kind of into Elite Dangerous. Super classic game. Love that game. PvP in it's super fun, and some Fortnite with some of my buddies. So it's a pretty good time. I like co-op games a lot. So if anyone wants to play sometime, let me know because I'm definitely down. Also, Factorio, freaking incredible game. Highly suggested. If you guys have not played Factorio yet, I think it will actually really help your analytical mind and it'll help you with problem solving a lot. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. Damn, that is so unfortunate. Knowing the Fed meeting was coming and still decided to trade was probably one of my bigger mistakes. How do stacked imbalances work on aggregated ticks? So basically, it adds up all of the orders on within those four ticks, or in this case, four ticks, and then or it finds the sum of them, and then it uses those numbers to highlight on the footprint chart. Like 120 would be the sum of those four ticks together, and 131 would be the sum of the ticks on the left side, and with those added up, that is the imbalance calculation now. So, or sorry, 131 and 59 would be. I apologize for that. So that's how it performed the calculation. You're right, Rocket. After a Fed day, we do get pretty good price movement with the direction of volatility. Tomorrow, we could definitely do a live stream. That's definitely on the cards here, especially because this one was a little bit lackluster in performance. So, yes, we can absolutely do that. Sure, why not? Yeah, I'll live stream tomorrow as well. Yes, that's correct. On 2 minute balances of 4 tick aggregation, the sum of 4 plus 4 price level should be imbalanced. The balance calculation mode just determines what the differences are between the ratio you put in. So initially, if you use the AC3, the default one's a little bit strange. It's actually like a logarithmic curve, and it's a little bit counterintuitive. It's divisible rather than multiplicator. Ratio is much easier to understand. I think that's what we've moved in the direction of, just because it's much easier to people to understand what's actually being calculated. So ratio is just the multiplier, basically. So if you have 1.5, the number on the left needs to be 50, or number on the right needs to be 50% greater than the number on the left for it to be considered an imbalance. That's practically it. Also, guys, just for legal reasons, I have to read this out again. The content of this live stream is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment advice. This live stream is not intended as an opportunity to copy live trading decisions of the presenter. Always consult with a licensed financial professional before making any investment decisions. Today's example of how low rotational volatility does not provide the best opportunities for the strategy would be a great highlight on your YouTube thumbnail. Thank you, Rocket. You're very helpful. I do appreciate all of your questions and comments. This is very nice that you've decided to join in with us today. If anyone's interested in trading this hyperscalping strategy, we do have the NQ setup guide. I should change the title to Hyperscalp NQ because we have multiple different ways you can trade it, but we have been just trading hyperscalping recently, so I will link that in the description as well at the end of this video. Could polarity be used with a different footprint chart, and what, if any, issues could I run into? Yes, absolutely, polarity can be used with a different footprint chart. I can't guarantee that you're going to visually be able to see the same imbalances. I can't say for every single footprint chart what imbalance calculation method they use, but it should be straightforward. With all the ones that we've personally encountered, we haven't come up with any issues with it. But other than that, just be aware that visually yours might not look the same as mine, but you will get the same trades because polarity does not interact with the footprint chart to calculate what trades it should take. Like, you might not necessarily see this 105 right here that's highlighted as an imbalance, but that would have been considered an imbalance by polarity if it met the adversary detection protocol. So I just can't make a blanket statement for everyone, but because that would be disingenuous. I don't know what every single footprint chart on the market does. However, it should be the same. Why does Vinny Mini hate you so much? What's his deal, I wonder? Not sure. Never, like, as long as Futures Analytic has existed, I've not spoken to him at all. I've not said anything about him. But if you check out his YouTube channel, I mean, like, he does say a lot of things about a lot of people. And he hasn't produced a single shred of evidence for anything that he said other than he's been confirmed to do XYZ. And that is a trend with many people that he talks about, but has not provided anything. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's marketing, but wish all the best to him. Just, I am puzzled as well. I really don't know. I can totally understand. I did address earlier that we would follow up with your email. All right, guys. This session isn't looking too promising, especially with us getting closer to those Fed minutes. So I think I am going to have to end it here. I may go live again later today. Very possibly. That is not a promise. Once again, we'll see how the Fed meeting goes. We'll see what the market's looking like. But tomorrow, like Rocket has suggested, I think I will go live. So expect a schedule on that. If you guys are wondering about future live streams, I do always post the next one on the YouTube channel. It'll show upcoming live stream on the live section of my YouTube channel. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. I really enjoy answering your guys' questions. Super helpful. Also, wait, I'm going to answer this last one here. It says, which calculation method do you use in the NQ, horizontal or diagonal? I use horizontal. Horizontal is definitely best for aggregated tick. Or on instruments where you use aggregated ticks. And Kovac said, I bought your original software before you even launched it and followed you ever since. I remember there was a setup video you did with that original software. Do you have an updated video that helps us set it up or how we were set up? Yes, we do have setup videos on the channel with our most recent setup. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. And I will see you guys either later today or tomorrow morning.